You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Should you buy Stellaris Shadows of the Shroud? I think I've answered this question in the thumbnail of this video. My answer is yes. I'm going to go through the features of this new DLC, what I think works and what I think doesn't work, so that I hope you can come to a better, more informed decision on whether Stellaris Shadows of the Shroud is for you. Let's start by diving into what is in the new DLC. There are 3 new origins in Stellaris Shadows of the Shroud. Interestingly, only one locks you into Psionic Ascension. That is the Endbringer's origin. This is a challenging origin, but it is really quite fun and thematic. It's a very different way of playing the game. You're basically starting the game as a crisis faction that is going to be attempting to end the galaxy as you progress through the gameplay. You will have to go down the Psionic Ascension path if you take this one, but you're locked into the end of the cycle. That is one of the entities within the Shroud that is probably the most destructive. You've got a bunch of special abilities and a limited time in which to basically bring about the end of reality. With Shadows of the Shroud, Machine Intelligence and Hivemind Empires can now psionically ascend. They've also got a brand new origin for Machine Empires, Shroud Forged. You'll start the game with a bunch of Shroud Forged pops, you'll end up in contact with the Maker of Clay, you'll end up in contact with the Shaper of Clay, a Shroud entity, and you can basically decide if you want to pursue a psionic path or not. This one doesn't actually lock your machine intelligence into being psionic. Just like Endbringers, this is quite a thematic narrative origin and there is quite a lot going on here. The third of our new origins is again challenging like Endbringers, but unlike Endbringers, this actually locks you out of Psionic Ascension. The Mind Warden origin means you'll start the game without the Mind Warden enclave anywhere in existence. Why is that? Because you're going to create the first Mind Warden enclaves. They'll basically function a bit like mercenary fleets for you, and you will have a few more interactions with them. This is in essence an anti-psionic empire. The big bonuses you're getting here: evasion and damage to other psionic empires. And there's a big story about how the Shroud and its effects are bad. Honestly, this might be the good guys in Stellaris. There are also 6 new civics. 4 of these are available to every single authority type, and 2 are only available to normal biological empires. Chosen starts you off in contact with a psionic entity in the Shroud, and you're going to be pushed very hard towards forming a covenant with that entity. This basically kickstarts your Shroud diplomacy game. Just like Chosen, Entropy Drinkers must psionically ascend. In essence, you're going to take a lot of negatives here in order to get access to longer leader lifespan, reduced upkeep, every leader starting with a psychic trait, and a set of edicts that range from your leaders never dying at the expense of a lot of pop growth speed, to more council agenda and councillor skill level. Experimental sentencing allows your scientists to test their newest ideas on criminals in your empire. You'll get access to the Orderly Slave job, which massively buffs your researcher output and produces some amenities, alongside a few other nice bonuses like Abomination Slave Armies. Secret Societies gives you early access to proxy wars. That's one of the brand new features coming in this edition. They basically allow you to force 2 other empires to go to war. This can be absolutely insane, as you can then pick up the pieces after these 2 factions have destroyed each other. The other way to get access to proxy wars is to finish the Subterfuge Tradition tree. Superstitious Beliefs is the Astrology Civic. It enables the Galactic Dowsing Edict, giving you a little bit more unity from your bureaucrats or priests, and increasing your resource deposit after you've surveyed a system. But more importantly, every 13 years, you'll go through a new cycle. These range from having only positive impacts, only negative impacts, and something in between. Tankbound is the very last civic added with Stellaris Shadows of the Shroud, and this one has really come out of left field. This seems to be inspired by the Spacing Guild from Dune, though arguably possibly the Daleks have something to do with this as well. Your species will start with the Tankbound trait, meaning they cannot be recruited into armies or occupy worker jobs. They get a massive increase to their amenities usage and are grown much slower. But You'll never need workforce because every single one of your basic resource districts will be 100% fully automated. This kind of means you can play as a virtual empire, except you are biological, just for worker jobs. Every time you complete a basic resource district, it will instantly be producing output, be those minerals, energy, or food. Alongside new civics and new origins, we have an entirely new set of portraits. These are all psionic portraits that have 2 levels. The first level being unascended and the second level being an ascended change, just like the cybernetic, synthetic, and biogenesis portraits from the previous Ascension DLC. There are also a host of new traits for your species that can only be placed on psionic species portraits. Shadows of the Shroud brings a new city set and a new room for you to look at in the diplomatic screen. And alongside all of this, 2 brand new ship sets, the Psionic ship set and my personal favorite, the Mind Warden ship set. These ship sets can be played with any empire. Additionally, we have a new Psionic advisor voice, music tracks, and a few more bits and pieces. The biggest part of this new DLC, though, absolutely has to be the reworked Psionic Ascension path. Just like as before, you can take the Mind Over Matter Ascension perk to get access to the Psionic Tradition tree. Taking the Psionic Tradition then begins a Psionic situation. This is identical now to the cybernetic, biological, and synthetic ascensions. Every ascension path has now been fully updated, and this DLC provides the final update for the final path, the Psionic path. After psionically ascending, your species will all get the Psionic trait, which has some new effects, and your leaders will all get the Psychic trait as well. The tradition unlocks a few powers for you, like the building of Psy-Core so you can get telepaths on your world, alongside some happiness, habitability, encryption, code breaking, intel level, and a bit of job efficiency for psionic specialists. But the main power of Psionic Ascension is not in the tradition. That instead comes later on as you explore the Shroud. We now have a new political alignment map mode for the Shroud with a variety of different entities, both minor and major, that you can gain attunement in. As you attune with these entities, you will gain various bonuses like more research speed, more fire rate, more pop growth, and apparently some diplo weight and trust. You can also choose to form a covenant with one of these entities, gaining some unfathomably good powers in some cases, but of course it does come at a cost. And then on top of gaining attunement, you can also delve into the Shroud for more bonuses. This is very similar to previously. There are now, however, even more psionic ship components you can find, from the Zro launchers all the way up to psionic lightning that can literally terrify enemy ships for 5 to 10 days, preventing them from even being able to attack. These are, in my opinion now, some of the best weapons in Stellaris, and they are pretty much exclusively available to psionically ascended empires. The Psionic Ascension does not start out strong compared to other ascension paths, but it grows in strength day after day. Part of this growth is to do with psionic auras. Auras now permeate the space, starting from worlds containing your telepaths and spreading outwards to cover every corner of creation. Depending on where your Shroud alignment is and which minor patrons you have found in the Shroud, your aura will have different effects. Very positive effects for you, very negative effects for your enemies, and some minor positive effects for your friends. It does take some time to expand the range and reach of this aura though, so it's a bonus that takes a while to become potent. And that is where the Mind Warden Enclave steps in. They can build things like Shroud seals that can cap and prevent psionic auras from spreading. They are the last bastion of defense in a galaxy continuously assaulted by the powers beyond. After you have ascended, you will also have the ability to take on an advanced government form. These advanced governments give you special powers, special abilities, and even special policies. So that's what's in the DLC. Now let me talk about what I think. First off, If you want to be able to play through these full extended Psionic Ascension options, this gives Psionic Ascension a level of depth that the other Ascension paths I feel don't really actually have. The Shroud mechanics, the attunement, the patrons, the powers, it's all a level beyond that which you can expect from pretty much any other Ascension path. The new origins are fun and thematic, but you don't need to play with them to fully experience what Shadows of the Shroud has to offer. The new civics are fun and thematic. You don't need to play with them to fully experience what Shadows of the Shroud has to offer. They are just an added bonus. The ship sets are beautiful, and sneaking in the proxy war feature I think is really awesome. That is going to add a lot more dynamics to the galactic map. We can now play as kind of nasty little secretive states that force other empires to go to war and destroy themselves. Let's say you've got a neighbor that's being a bit rude, you can probably set a fanatic purifier on them. Yikes. Overall, at the $20, €20 price point, I think that this DLC is probably worth it. But what about the bad? Well, there's definitely a feeling of slowness to the Psionic Ascension. Yes, you can psionically ascend and complete your tradition quickly, but you really don't get access to the full range of powers until you've spread your aura out and either made a covenant or forged your own covenant. And that definitely can take quite a bit of time relative to the other ascension paths, so I often have felt that I am behind where I should be.
I want more. And I know I shouldn't.
Additionally, if Psionic Ascension is not something you are interested in, if it doesn't really fulfill the roleplay or fantasy that you want when you play Stellaris, a science fiction game, which I can totally understand, then this almost certainly is not the DLC for you. If you don't want to play with the Psionic Ascension feature, then there is pretty much no point in picking this up. Overall, I think I'd rank this DLC as A tier. It is not an instant purchase when you buy the game, not by a long shot, but it adds a lot of features and a lot of functionality to Psionic Ascension that are essential to having a fun time with this Ascension path. This DLC does not have the same scope as Machine Age or Biogenesis, but that's why they priced it ever so slightly lower. Now, on a different topic, are DLC prices getting out of control? Is the price of purchasing Stellaris far too expensive relative to the base game or any other game if you want to get all of the DLC? That is a question for another day, but the answer might actually be yes. If you would like to purchase Stellaris, Shadows of the Shroud, or anything at all from the Paradox Interactive Store, you can do so by using our link down in the description or our code MONTUPLAYS at the checkout. We are a Paradox affiliate, so any purchases on the store using our link or code will also help to support this channel. If you enjoyed this video on Stellaris Shadows of the Shroud, but you're thinking, well, should I get a DLC for one of the other Ascension paths, you might want to pick up Stellaris Biogenesis, which completely reworked the biological Ascension path. If you'd like to see my review on that DLC, click the video on screen now.